So this is like the second podcast. I did the first one a while ago, quite a bit ago, but this is the second one. I'm going to be talking about clowns in media, like movies, TV shows, music and stuff. Not the horror ones, of course, because I don't like horror stuff. So let's just say they got eaten by Godzilla or something. Mm, so yeah, the first one I'll talk about is probably the most famous as far as like TV wise goes, which is Bozo the Clown. He started as a logo for the record company, specifically promoting records to children of nursery rhymes, stories, and things like that. Slowly, he would start to get his own records. While special records, there'll be a record packaged inside of a book. It'll be a simple book. Like the most well-known one is Bozo at the Circus, and it will just describe different circus things, like the animals you'll see, acts, and other things. Eventually, Bozo will go on to get his first ever TV special, which was also titled Bozo at the Circus. It was pretty much the same as the book, just as a TV special. It's a nice special, and it does give a very nice look as to what circuses were like back then. It is on YouTube. I do recommend watching it, since it does show what circuses were like back then and everything. He will eventually go on to get his own weekly TV show. A few different carnations of that as well. But not only that, his show was the most popular. He wasn't the first clown to have a TV show, but he was the first one to have it be so successful. His show even made it overseas to other countries, Brazil being one of them. He even did a crossover with their TV clowns, Patata and Patachi. And he also has his own show over there as well. A few other countries too. I believe, I want to say, of course there was Mexico, I believe Germany, and Italy, and a few more. They didn't last quite as long as the Brazil or American incarnations though. And the Bozo show would carry on all the way up to the 2000s. Well, because Bozo the Clown was so successful, a lot of people start using clowns to market things. Cereal, juices, ice cream, anything they want to sell to a child really. And then comes along the restaurant McDonald's, who at the time did not have any mascots whatsoever. So they came up with Ronald McDonald. His very first look was quite different than what most people know. His very first look had him having a cup for a nose, like basically a cardboard box, which is what will originally hold french fries, on his head. And his whole outfit would be themed around things that the restaurant sold. That design didn't prove to be very popular, so they did actually have one of the Ringling Brothers clowns come and redesign the character, which is the Ronald McDonald that most people know today. And he still has pretty much the exact same design, except for a costume change that happened in around like 2012-ish. But you can still see him on his Instagram at least, from time to time, wearing his original costume. Also on his Instagram, you can see some of the older characters too, like Grimace and Hamburglar and Birdie. Ronald McDonald was successful enough to have a TV special called Treasure Island. Plus, he'll go on a bit later to have his own video series titled The Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. And it was made by the same people who worked on the Rugrats. It was initially planned for more videos, but for whatever reason they stopped them. But you can find all of them on YouTube and high quality to watch. They are also on eBay from time to time too. Another TV clown show was The Little Clowns of Happy Town. This one is a bit more obscured because it never really got any proper releases. To this day, there's still no proper VHS release and no proper DVD release. Though from time to time, VHS is on eBay, though they're typically always European region, for whatever reason. Excuse me. But the show was about little children who were clowns, and they lived in Happy Town. And the whole goal was just to make people happy. Of course, they did have a villain, much like the Care Bears did. His name was Dr. B-Bear. And he just wanted people to be unhappy. The episodes played a lot like a Care Bears episode. Very simple, but it was nice. You can find some of the episodes on YouTube, with 3 of the episodes being in Russian, which is a little unfortunate, but you can see those if you know Russian, and there are some in English. I'm not sure if I said the title of the show, I don't think I did, but the show was called The Little Clowns of Happy Town. It aired in the 80s, which was during the time of a lot of really cutesy cartoons, like Moon Dreamers, of course Care Bears, The Galanos, Bozos, and a lot more. And, let's see what. And coming from the 80s to the late 90s / early 2000s, was the clown show The Big Comfy Couch. I grew up watching this show. It originally started in Canada, and the person who had the idea was actually a professional clown who wanted to have a TV show. And her friend worked together to come up with the show. And she is in the show. She plays Grandma the Clown, which is really cool. The show is about Lunette the Clown and her doll, just basically learning life lessons. There are a few holiday-themed episodes, not too many, and they're specifically made-up holidays that somewhat resemble real holidays, but not to a T. The show ran for about 5 seasons on PBS, and then it eventually ended. But the YouTube channel has started to put all of the episodes up there for free. And they did also have a live touring show. I didn't know about that at all when I was a kid. I found that out recently, but apparently they did. I'm not really too sure what else to say. They did have books, dolls, and all merchandise you might expect. The show did fairly well. since it lasted for 5 seasons, which is saying a lot for children's shows, since typically they'll get cancelled after they hit the 80 episode mark, since that's usually enough for syndication, meaning enough episodes for them to just air rewinds without paying for new ones. So for any show to make it past that is impressive. Now moving on to, I truthfully can't think of another clown show off the top of my head. Of course there are more like Mr. Doodle and Sesame Street's Elmo were. He is actually the original actor was like trained in mime and clowning. What else? There is of course Animal Crackers, which is a really new movie, like super new. It finally got released last year. That movie was originally made, it got complete in 2018, but had a hard time getting it released. However, thanks to Netflix, they was finally able to get it released. And that movie is about a circus that has magical animal crackers. When the owners disappear, the nephew takes over the circus and the grand crackers. I won't give too much away, but it is a really good movie. Whatever cracker he eats, he can become that animal. And when he does it, a human cracker appears in the box. Only one human cracker though. The animal crackers will always make more, but there's only ever one human cracker. That is important to the story, but I can't really say why without spoiling it. But the animation for the movie is really nice. It's really stylized and cartoony, which is a nice break since a lot of 3D animation tries to be really realistic. So it's nice to see stuff that's very cartoony. The color palette is also very vivid and bright. They do have 2 books out as well that don't really tie into the movie, but they're a good read. You can find them both easily on Amazon by just typing Animal Crackers under the book section. And going on to the next circus movie is Cirque du Soleil Aiglia, the movie. I watched this movie years ago and still really love it. It is a really great movie. I just think it had bad timing, since the movie didn't do as well as they had hoped. But the movie is about, well, he's never exactly specified, but he's a mime who's friends with a little boy. And then the circus comes to town. Obviously it's Cirque du Soleil. They just don't call it that in the movie. Well, the clown does help the little boy set his friends free. I won't say what, since I feel like that will spoil the movie, but the mime does help the boy. It's a really nice movie, and it does feature a lot of really good songs. Cirque du Soleil did also make another movie called Worlds Away. This one's a lot different though. Instead of having a plot and storyline, like the first one did, this one is more in sections. It's about a girl who goes to a carnival, and she goes to one of the tents and ends up in this magical world. The movie is mostly about her going from tent to tent, seeing the different circus acts. It is set up really nicely, and it does look super magical. So I do highly recommend it. Another interesting thing though about the second movie is that none of the characters really talk. So it is more visual, but does have great music and everything. And of course, I would mention The Greatest Showman, since that's what I think the most well-known circus movie right now. However, there's actually not really any clowns in it. It's still a great movie though. So I'm going to skip and go to bands and music. As far as I know, there's never really been any clown or circus themed bands in the US. But there has been in Japan. Quite a few actually. My favorite being the Pumpkinhead. The singer of Pan started the band with his best friend Izuru. And they eventually met Ryu, Roku, and Toru, who would be the remaining members of the band. Unlike other visual kei bands, however, most of the songs, the lyrics for them, are nonsense. They're not made to make any sense, they're just made to be silly. And they do have quite a few songs, though not as many music videos. But they, at least from most sources, they started in 2001 and had a final show in 2007. They did, however, release a 5-disc DVD set and a photo book from the last concert. You can, if you're lucky, find the DVD set on Japanese sites. The book, however, is difficult to find. So if anyone wants to see that, I am lucky enough to own it and will be willing to scan the pages if anyone wants to see it. Another band that is still going is called No God, and they have been going for quite a while. They started roughly about the same time as the Pumpkinhead, about 2005, 2006. So they did actually do a few shows with the Pumpkinhead. And the vocalist for that band is also a clown, much like the Pumpkinhead. However, the music styles are quite different. Whilst the Pumpkinhead's most of their songs are very silly and nonsense, No God songs tend to be a bit more serious and focus on different things. Sometimes it will be real world issues, sometimes it will be issues that people have day to day, and different things like that. I do recommend checking out both of those bands. Another fairly newer band is called the Nostradamus. They play kind of rock, but also kind of punk music together. And as for the lyrics go, they do have some songs that are just nonsense, but not a lot. Most of the songs have to do with personal things that people go through, and a few bigger issues, like bigger world issues too. For that band, however, it isn't the vocalist that dresses like a clown, it's the drummer, Bozo. His look has changed quite a bit though. Since in the beginning, he will have fake bugs on his face. 3 of them specifically, occasionally 4. But he since stopped putting them on his face. I'm not sure why. He does also use more pink instead of blue and green in his makeup now. Now I'd like to point out, Doku's makeup changes quite often. Instead of having kind of a set style like Haruto and Pan do, Doku will change his makeup to go with whatever new CD that they're trying to promote. And he has a lot of different styles. Some are more colorful than others, and some are more detailed. But all very beautiful. His is always very elegant style makeup. Like, how do I put this? Kind of like Cirque du Soleil makeup in a way. Whereas Haruto and Frypan are very much like traditional circus clown makeup. What else should I cover? I'm not 100% sure. At least not the top of my head. I'm still not very good at this stuff. There has been, of course, a lot of different visual K bands. I've done circus themed music videos. Like Mid Speakers Inc. did one. Well, actually, they did a whole CD album that was circus themed. With Mid Speakers Inc., there was kind of a storytelling band. Every costume they'll have will be promoting the new CD, and they'll always have a new story to go with it. And for the circus one, that storyline was there were zombie animals. Animals that have passed on but have started their own circus together in the afterlife. There's a bit more to that story, but as the baseline, all of the animals become friends and make their own circus together. And each member had their own animal name. Aya was a rabbit. Then, of course, who I've copied my name from, Yuki, was a dog zombie. Mika was a cat zombie. Then S was a zombie sheep. I always forget Seek. I know it was a bird, I just forget the specific type of bird. But each member was a different animal. Of course, there are lots of other bands who have done circus videos too. I just can't think of them right now. So I guess I'll end this for now. I will try to get better at this stuff. I do hope everyone has a good day, week, or weekend, depending on when you listen to this. Bye.